Hello there. So this is a video where I talk about the books that I read in June. And this month I read 10 in total, but not all of them are full-length books. Most of them are short stories. And I think this month I read more because I read more. The books that I read, most of them I have in physical format, so I think that helps me a lot. I do get a lot more motivated to read in like a physical book. So yes, I'm going to start with the very first one that I read this month, which was a short story by Edgar Allan Poe. It's a very famous story. It's called The Telltale Heart, and it's very short. um I heard a YouTuber that I follow that I really like talk about this, and because I saw that it was short and he explained a little bit about what this story was about, I was intrigued, so I read it and I really liked it. This is the cover. As you might know, well, this is how I show the covers because I don't edit the videos. Well, very rarely that I edit videos anyways. Yeah, that one I read on June 1st. So it was the very first one that I read this month. The Hour of the Star was the second one. This is by Clarice Lispector. I think, well, I've been hearing a lot about this author and a lot of booktubers that I follow. I don't know if she has been like popular. I mean, it's not a recent author. Obviously, this book is from 1977, but yes, I don't know if it's something right now because I've seen some booktubers talk about this, or they have been popular always. But anyways, so The Hour of the Star by Clarice Lispector. This one I didn't read fully in June. I was already reading it the previous month, and I did end up finishing it. I got a little stuck for a second with this book, but then I finished it and I liked it. I'm not I think she uses I don't know how to describe exactly, but for me she uses a lot of words, and even though I read it in Spanish because in the original language is Portuguese, and Portuguese is a little more close to Spanish than English. That's why I read it in Spanish. Um, Even like regardless, I did find it a little bit difficult to understand a lot of words that she used. I did like the writing style, but I think um, it got me a little bit stuck when I was reading and I didn't know what this word meant, and I would have to keep going. I didn't stop myself to Google each word, but yes, I mean, her writing style is like I don't know if the right way to call it is prose, but it isn't like a typical novella or novel or story. The writing is different. So I think she uses a lot of metaphors, I think. I don't know, it's just the writing is different, and it was a little bit difficult for me to get into it or to understand because it was the first book that I read in this style. In this style. So I gave it 3.5, and The Telltale Heart I gave it 3.75. The next one, so I was in a little bit of a reading slump, so I started reading instant love stories. If you know, you know. But yeah, I was just like, I need something to get. I just need something to read, and it is very easy. And so I just started looking. I didn't even know the term of instant love, but I just started looking for this kind of stories, and I saw that the kind of category that they would put it in, it was like instant love stories and whatnot. I don't usually read romance, but I was just like, give me anything. I just want to read something, right? That is very easy to read and short. So yes, I read the first one that I read was Grizzly Bird. No, Grizzly Beard. Yeah, Grizzly Beard, like beard, by Cassie Mintz. And this was 53 pages, really short. And this is the cover. Well, to keep it short, I did read like three three more stories like this the same day, or four, I don't remember. I read Hacker by Casey Mintz. I read Coffee Crush by Casey Mintz as well. Like overall, for the short stories that I read, I think Coffee Crush was my favorite. I mean, they're really short, right? So you don't really have a lot of time to get into the characters and anything. It's more like just to keep yourself entertained, and that's all. But after that, I was out of my reading slump, so I started reading Stoner by John Williams. And yeah, I gave it 4.25. Well, 4 stars to 5.4 stars, 0.25 stars. And this is the cover. Oh my god, I have the physical book. I don't have to show the picture. I don't know, I get excited because I love physical books. So this is Stoner by John Williams, and now that I have the little thingies to kind of highlight or whatever got my attention, I'm not very methodical about what I take notes on, or well, I don't really take notes, I just highlight, well, kind of underline actually, to just whatever gets my attention, something that makes me a phrase or a word that make me feel something, I underline it. I don't take it too seriously. I'm not like, oh, I'm finding the most beautiful formed word or whatever. Well, this is a very long one, so I'm gonna skip this one. Let's see. I mean, probably it's not going to make sense just reading it like that without context, but let me see. Okay, so this is basically talking about death, right? And it says something like, well, basically someone passes away and the main character, Stoner, is thinking about death, or the narrator's thinking about death. So it says, now they were in the earth to which they had given their lives, and slowly, year by year, the earth will take them. And the other one, a little below, it says, and they would become a meaningless part of that stubborn earth to which they had long ago given themselves. I don't know, it's just the picture of you dying and you coming back to earth, which gave you life, you know? I don't know. I like that sentences, so I highlighted them. And let me see. Oh yeah, there was a very romantic part that I really like. Let me check. Yeah. Okay, so this is Stoner thinking about her daughter. So his daughter, sorry. So, well, just to start here. So it says, Stoner watched them drive away from the house, and he could think of his daughter only as a very small girl who had once sat beside him in a distant room and looked at him with solemn delight, as a lovely child who long ago had died. It doesn't mean that the daughter literally died, but you know, the daughter was a grown woman now. So I'm not a parent, but I have a niece, so I kind of understand how it feels to see your child grow, and kind of mourning what your child was when they were, I don't know, 4 years old, or 5, 10, whatever. You just, they feel so different that you kind of mourn what this other person used to be. So yes, that was Stoner. I really liked it. Again, this was recommended by the same YouTuber I really like, actually. So yes, I really liked it. I mean, I'm just going to say I liked it, I didn't like it, or I'm not giving much detail. So this is a fiction, classic, historical, literary, emotional, reflective, sad, medium-paced book. I'm basically just reading the page of storygraph. And yes, just because I read that this was a sad book, I chose it. I don't tend to do much research on the books that I'm going to read. So someone recommended it that I kind of trust their recommendations, and he said that it was kind of sad, about life. I really like books about life, literary fiction that get into the character's mind. That's my shit. So I read it, and as I said, I give it 4.25 stars. The next one that I finished, I don't have it in physical, but it is Anxious People by Fredrik Backman. This one I started actually maybe like 3 months ago. Before I finished it, I gave it like a long break because I wasn't really getting into it. I ended up finishing it in audiobook. This is the cover. Anxious People, and I really had a lot of, because I read My Friends by Fredrik Backman as well before, so I thought it was going to be, I don't know, I had higher expectations, and maybe also more because of the title is very like Anxious People, but yeah, the kind of categories of the book here are fiction, contemporary, literary, mystery, emotional, funny, hopeful, medium paced. So yeah, that's it. I wasn't a fan of it. I almost DNF it, but I was like, I need to finish, and I give it 3 stars. That's it. If you want to give it a try to Fredrik Backman, I guess I would recommend My Friends instead of Anxious People. The next one that I read, it was The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, and this one I also have in physical, and I really liked it. So this is, let me read the categories. So this is fiction, classics, literary, dark, emotional, reflective, and I had it in my category of my list of Sad Fest and Slice of Life, just of the little information that I had. I wasn't expecting it to be too like as modern as it was. I didn't even read the back. I didn't know the story of the author. So if you don't know, Sylvia Plath took her own life because she suffered from depression, and in this book it's kind of self, I don't know the word, but it talks about her experience kind of like in a fiction way, but also in some kind of fiction way, talking about her experiences, right? So yeah, in the beginning it was more like casual, but even since the beginning we start kind of getting some glimpses of her mind and her personality and her feelings and about depression basically. So the very first thing that I highlighted here, it was actually in the page number 2 of the book, and it says, let me see, 1 sec. Okay, so in here it's just talking about kind of the stereotypical idea of someone going to live to New York, something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but it says, let's say, and then she gets a scholarship to college and wins a prize here and a prize there, and ends up steering New York like at home, and ends up steering New York like her own private car. And then what I highlighted, it's only I wasn't steering anything, not even myself. I just bumped from my hotel to work and to parties, and from parties to my hotel and back to work like a numbed trolley bus. I just like that phrase or picture of just don't having control of your life and just kind of letting life move you through the, I don't know, through the motions, I guess. Kind of relatable, right? So I highlighted this as well. Another thing that I highlighted was this was something funny that I just liked, because I kind of also find it relatable. It says, there's nothing like puking with somebody to make you into old friends. that's it. And the other thing, well, I think these other ones that I highlighted need more context, so I'm just going to leave it to that. I read The Bell Jar. I was kind of afraid to get into it, but it kind of reads like a contemporary fiction. Well, it's not the classic basically. It's not, I mean, usually well, not all the classics are hard to read, but this was easy to read. However, again, the writing was a little bit different, so, and also some of the words, I think her main thing was like poetry, so you kind of need to know, or at least my vocabulary, is not that wide to understand everything, all of the words. But yes, I really enjoyed this one. It was, it's about depression and mental health, but in some aspects it's relatable, and it's really insightful as well, because I didn't know while I was reading it that it was actually based on things that happened to her or inspired. So when you think about that, it makes you really reflect, or it gives it a different weight of the words that you're reading, kind of. So yeah, The Bell Jar, I would recommend it. It's not so depressing that you don't want to keep reading or something, but I love depressing shit, so I'm not complaining. I mean, but it's kind of heartbreaking that this actually happened to her, and so yeah, I don't know, it's a kind of strange. So the other one, the last one that I read in June. Actually, I finished it on June 29th. It was The Vegetarian by Han Kang. I also have it here. And this is the Spanish version, so this is maybe not the cover, like the most popular cover. This is The Vegetarian, La Vegetariana. And yes, I didn't know much about this. I literally went to the mall and I was looking through the book section, and I read the back of this and I was like, oh, this sounds interesting. I'm not going, well, I can read the little thing here on, but it's also in Spanish here, so I'm not going to translate it right now, but it's basically about this woman who suddenly doesn't want to eat meat because she's having these dreams. She tells her husband, but she's in this relationship with where her husband is like, oh, I found the perfect woman. Like, it's a very simple woman, but really not talking great about her. She's like, oh, but she's decent, attractive wise or physical wise. The physical aspects, she's like, okay, she cooks my meals, she doesn't complain, she doesn't talk much, she lets me, a lot of stuff that is really kind of gross to read about how her husband was treating her. And then she suddenly like starts acting a little bit strange. And yeah, I honestly didn't understand it fully. I'm not sure if this is a kind of representation of depression as well, or mental illness, or it's just some kind of other stuff. But well, reading the categories, it says fiction, contemporary, literary, dark, sad, tense. So if you see, I have kind of a kind of book that I like. Most of them have like similar topics. And did I say this was by Han Kang? I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but yes. Yeah, that's the last book that I read. And these are the physical books that I have, that I did read this month. And well, right now, right now I already read another one, but that was in July, so I'll talk about that in the other video for July. And yes, those are my videos. Those are my books. So I didn't say for The Vegetarian, I gave it 3.25 stars. Anxious People, I think I said I gave it 3 stars. And yeah, for the short stories that I mentioned, the instant love stories, I didn't even give it a rating because it was just whatever. Well, to Coffee Crush, the one that I liked the most of the instant love stories that I read, I give it 3.5. But again, because they're so short, you don't even have time to, I don't know, get to know a lot of the characters or get attached to the story. So it's more like entertaining, and that's it. But yeah, that's what I read in June. As I said, I think I read more than I expected, because I had physical books to read, right? But yeah, I don't think that's going to keep up that long. Hopefully for my birthday I can get more books. But yeah, I'm not trying to fill myself with a lot of books. I mean, I would love to have so many books, but yeah. Yeah, those were the books that I read in June, and hopefully in July, which is my birthday month, which is my birthday month. I'm excited. Yeah, let's see how I do with in July. Yeah, bye.